Good morning, friends. I hope you can hear the songbirds in the background. Welcome back into my kitchen. Today we're going to talk all about kitchen rhythms, how to establish them, and how that can be so helpful, not only in your healing journey, but in incorporating more healing whole foods into your life. I'm going to share with you a lot of the rhythms that have been so grounding to me and have been so critical in my own healing journey. I found the experience of embracing the kitchen so grounding. I feel like preparing food is such a big part of what human beings were designed for, and we've lost a lot of that in our modern convenience culture. And this is obviously a layered issue, but I really think we're seeing the effects, deeply seeing the effects on so many levels of losing the rhythm of the kitchen. It's even been healing to my nervous system to begin to experience the kitchen in a sensory way that I never have before. And it's led me to this deeper place of gratitude for the food. And how often, as I'm learning these skills and learning how to prepare food and prep food and preserve food, I think so much of people from days gone by and all of the things that they went through to grow the food, hunt the food, make the food, preserve the food. And it's a very humbling, grounding experience that keeps you solidly in the moment. So that's something that I've really personally enjoyed about learning rhythms of the kitchen. It is such a beautiful spring morning. Nettle, gotta have nettle, especially in the spring. Just about everything at this point has bloomed. So each day I feel something different. Like, okay, something else has bloomed, but the nettle and the liver herbs like milk thistle and dandelion have helped me a lot over the years. Cheers. I am loving these new gingham pajamas. I also got ones in a long sleeve and more of a camel or beige. Look, they have a little ruffle. They're so cute. I will link these for you. They're really lightweight and comfy. I have a bunch of free blog posts where I go into detail about some of the things I'm going to talk about. I will link all those for you in the description box. Things like if you want help on how to make the perfect hard-boiled egg, how to peel the egg, all that stuff. I will have lots of blog posts for you for this particular episode. So you can find all that in the description box, but we have to go. I know that there's eggs in the coop. Sometimes when the girls get older, one of our girls, she will lay her regular size eggs at the very beginning of the season. And then the rest of the season, this just started last year in her older days, she will lay these. So cute. All right, you wanna come with me? Let's go get eggs. I need my boots and my sweater. Oh, it's you. You're sitting on everything. Oh, you're mad at her because she's in the nesting box you want to be in? Okay, I'll come back in like 5 minutes. There's 2 more nesting boxes to choose from, ma'am. It's like kids. They always want the one that the other one has. We have more than enough nesting boxes. She's yelling at the other chicken for being in the nesting box that she wants to be in. Yeah. Women. All right, we'll go back out there in a few minutes then. I bet everybody would like to see you and say hi to you. They know you lost your brother last year, and you've been a very good friend to me. Zion has an egg every morning. Right, buddy? Should I get my booty in the kitchen and make your egg? Okay, I'll make your egg, okay. So even though people don't like to hear this, food does happen to be one of the most direct access things in your life to better health. And unfortunately today, the food is not what it was. So we can't just go get food and it's automatically organic like it was 80 years ago. We also have not all been taught the skills that people had 90, 100 years ago, where they just knew by the time they were 7 how to do a lot of this stuff. So for a lot of us, this is a learning curve. And I really do believe, or this was true for me, that in the beginning parts of just deciding you're going to do something, deciding you're going to do something new, committing to learning it, and then executing it and being okay with not being great at it at first, that's actually the hardest part. The hard part is not the rhythms that you get into and sticking with the rhythms. The hardest part is ripping off the Band-Aid and deciding that you're going to do it in the first place. So I'll tell people often, one skill at a time, one commitment at a time. You don't have to decide everything today. I cook about 98% of our food from scratch. And again, that's just been a part of my own healing journey. That's something I realized years ago that I was going to have to do if I wanted to start to heal my body, and I wanted to be able to afford to do it. Because the reality is that making the food yourself a lot of times saves you a lot of money. Just having your eyes opened to the food industry is a little bit daunting, but when you realize that even though there's so much out of our control today, that there are still some things that we can do, it does give you this sense of hope, and it kind of gives you a little bit of your power back. So there are some things that I do on a regular basis to try to keep things in motion. One of the things I'm going to be adding soon, so like I said, we can add things in stages, to my kitchen rhythm routine is milling my own grain. I'm going to be doing that after the life shift that's coming up for us because I have to pace myself. But after that, I'm going to be working on that. So if you want to come along for that, just stay tuned. And we'll be having a lot more stuff in the kitchen very, very soon. There are a few packaged food items that you can get that have pretty clean ingredients, and I keep a couple of those on hand for emergencies if my husband has to pop something in the oven. But the reality is that the healthier processed food items or the healthier packaged food items, they come with a bit of a hefty price tag. So for me, this has just been the most practical thing. And like I said, once you get into it, once you get into the whole rhythm, it's really not that bad. Not everything that you see online has to work for you in the season of life that you're in. Some people can take an entire day, one of the month, to meal prep, to get stuff into the freezer. Not everybody's gonna wanna do that. Some people like me take more of the route of prepping as you go throughout the week, but also sometimes when I make certain types of meals that I know are going to be good for freezer meals, I make extra. So if I'm going to be making a beef stew, let's say, I will make extra of the beef stew, knowing that I'm going to take that extra and I'm going to put it in the freezer as a freezer meal. So it doesn't have to look the same for everybody, and you can tweak all of these different things to suit you in the season of life that you're in. I think keeping things on hand and being in a preparedness mindset or a stewardship mindset helps you to not make impulsive choices. So if I have protein prepared, like if every week, twice a week, I'm preparing hard-boiled eggs and I'm keeping them in the fridge, then that is a high protein, healthy snack that I can eat that's gonna satiate me. If in the warm months, I'm always making things like chicken salad, tuna salad, egg salad, and those are in the fridge, that's something that I know can satiate me. It's going to be high in protein and I can make it with the exact ingredients that I want. So different times of the year, this rhythm is going to change, and that has been a normal, natural part of human existence forever until very modern history when we fell out of line with living seasonally. As most of you know, I'm not a big summer fan, especially just midsummer, the hottest part of the summer. I don't like being hot. I like cozy season. I love spring. Summer is just a little bit overstimulating for me. So I know that I have to keep certain things on hand. With some of my health struggles, I don't really get a lot of hunger cues. So I have to have those protein items made in the fridge so that I know, okay, more protein, now I have to have more fat, now I have to go eat this and go eat that. And so having those things made ahead of time is really helpful for me. So that's one of my other rhythms, is that I always have hard-boiled eggs on hand. And I know people always say that the hard-boiled eggs get overcooked, or they don't know how long to cook them, or it's hard to peel the shell. And like I told you before, I just put up a blog post all about hard-boiled eggs, nature's multivitamin. So if you want some help with hard-boiled eggs, I will leave that link for you in the description box. I think I'm also going to be doing a blog post right before this video comes out about a lot of my kitchen essentials that have helped me to do a lot of these kitchen rhythms and stay organized. So again, if that's of interest to you, that'll be there. I know a lot of people are avoiding bread and grain right now. Part of the reason I'm going to be doing the fresh milling of the grain and the sourdough bread is because I can't eat any modern gluten. I'm very sensitive to pesticides and glyphosate, very sensitive to modern wheat, can't eat it. So I'm hoping that if I do it that way and it's the bread that humans were intended to eat, I'll be able to slowly work myself into that. So the reality is that the ideal bread for human beings is fresh milled grains from an heirloom organic grain that has not been touched with chemicals. And then that grain is turned into a sourdough bread. Or an unleavened bread. That's the bread that human beings were designed to eat. That's the ideal. However, if you can get into a rhythm at the very least, if your family eats bread, at the very, very least, where you are making your own bread, as opposed to buying the bread on the shelf. The bread on the shelf has an ingredient list that is a paragraph long. And the reality is that bread is basically water. It's either naturally fermented or there's yeast in it, and there's a type of flour. That extensive list of ingredients is making people sick. It's making people's bodies very, very inflamed. And the reality is that getting into a rhythm of making your own bread can actually save you money. You could make 2 loaves and you could slice one up and put it in the freezer and just have it where you can take it out and pop it into the toaster whenever you want it. One of the things that's been really helpful for me is maintaining my stash of bulk herbs and foods. Obviously, your ability to maintain bulk foods is going to depend slightly on your capacity to store it without creating a ton of clutter. But oftentimes, obviously, buying things in bulk helps you save money. It lowers the cost. So I'm always trying to keep things like medicinals, herbs, teas, things like that in bulk. And when I have it on hand, then I don't have to make impulsive choices or buy it for a more expensive price. So ferments is the other thing that I always have. And the beautiful thing about fermented foods, first of all, saves you a lot of money on probiotics. And you can ferment so many things. It's one of the most ancient preservation methods of food. It's really not that scary. Once you get into the flow of it and you realize how it works, you realize that it's absolutely worth doing, and you can have fermented foods on the side of so many dishes. It's super simple because fermented foods last in the fridge or in cold storage for a very long time once they ferment properly. So really, I'm only having to make batches of the fermented food every couple of months. I ferment them, I pop them in the fridge, and the shelf life in there is very, very long. So good for your gut health. Your gut is your second brain. So many different functions of your body extend out from how your gut is doing. And so speaking of the gut, one of the other rhythms that I'm always getting into in the kitchen is making sure that there's meat stock or bone broth in the kitchen. If you don't do meat, you could always have vegetable broth or some sort of broth going. Broth is chock full of minerals, so many gut healing properties, collagen, all of the beautiful things that the human body needs. There is a difference between meat stock and bone broth, and I do have another blog post that gets into all of that. My main preference is a roasted meat stock. That's my favorite. I like adding different things into it, including fresh rosemary, a little bit of carrot, some shallots. I like to be a little bit fancy about it. But meat stock was actually one of the first things that I started doing in my healing journey. And again, not intimidating, super cheap to do. You can use scraps that you have from cooking the other things that you're cooking. And it's just such a warm, cozy part of the kitchen. My husband was just saying the other day that he smells it immediately, and it's such a cozy feeling when you walk into the house and there is a pot of simmering broth on the stove. I do like to chop some things up ahead of time and have baggies of them in the freezer, just things like chopped carrots and celery, things I know I'm going to be using in soups and stews, which is another big thing in the kitchen. And again, that stuff shifts seasonally, but I do like having some of that stuff already chopped up, potatoes, things that I know that I'm going to use, because sometimes I think it's the prep of everything that stops us from making a meal when we should be making a meal. I think whatever prep steps that you can take that's going to encourage you to use more whole foods, to cook more in your kitchen, is a good thing. I mean, I probably go to one restaurant a year, maybe every other year, and trying to think of the last time I had, I think the last time I had takeout is definitely more than 8 years. 8 or 9 years ago. I don't know. I don't trust it. I don't trust them. I don't trust them. The non-food related kitchen rhythms that I like to do is just making the kitchen inviting for me to be in. And your kitchen doesn't have to be fancy. This is a very small, simple kitchen. There's no fancy countertops. There's oak cabinets. But I like to have my diffuser in here. I like to do different scents depending on what time of year it is. I like pretty vintage things that I thrift for a few dollars. Things that make it feel special. This is my corner cabinet. This is so special to me. I just repainted it for its big venture that is going on in the world in the next couple months. This is her right here. I love this corner cabinet. So preparing ahead of time seasonally, things like vanilla extract. I mean, how expensive is vanilla extract at the store? And the cheaper vanilla extract, you don't even want to know what it's made out of. Okay. But if you prepare ahead of time, like this time of year, and you make your vanilla extract, which again, I have a whole thing for you on how to do that, and you do that, it saves you a ton of money. You can make a very large batch of it. I use vanilla extract in my bug spray. I use it for cooking. I use it for all sorts of things. I am a huge fan of vanilla extract, but there's nothing like homemade. You can give this to gifts for people coming up in cozy season. Put a little bow on this, say when it's going to be ready. Takes about 6 months to brew really well, 4 months, anywhere from 4 months to a year, depending on your vanilla beans. But starting things ahead of time and getting in that flow and that rhythm, you not only save money, you're gonna have a way better product, and it's something that you're gonna be able to enjoy and something that you can share with other people so that they can enjoy. There are so many things that are so easy to make yourself, and I think people don't realize it. Things like homemade whipped cream. That stuff in the store, that whip, I don't even know what that is, but homemade whipped cream is so simple. You just get heavy whipping cream, and you just need a hand blender. Put some of vanilla in it, a little bit of maple syrup. If you want to put some spice in it, you can, but you don't have to. And that's it. You just blend it up, and within a couple minutes, you have homemade whipped cream. I like to do that because my husband likes putting a dollop of that in his coffee, and it is delicious and delightful. I'm telling you, it's not all as scary as we think it is, and it's so rewarding. Human beings are made to work with our hands, to create. It's so satisfying. You know, when you're a kid and you're trying to learn how to do something like tie your laces, and someone's doing it for you all this time, and you get that perfect loop, and that deep grounding satisfaction comes over you. We have to keep doing all of that stuff as adults and continuing to build and learn skills. It's so important. It's so enriching, so grounding. And when it comes to food in the kitchen, it is also so healing. I would love to hear if you have your own kitchen rhythms. Leave that in the comments below. I'm going to take you guys outside. We're going to have tea and breakfast, and I have kind of an announcement. It's probably more of a big deal for me than it is for you, but I'm going to tell you in 1 second. I 1000% know that I should be a good YouTuber and put the sun diffusing lens thing on this, but I want to eat my eggs. So my most requested thing ever in the last 6 years has been a cookbook. In your hand, tangible cookbook that someone can rest on their kitchen counter. So friends, one of the big things this year, there's a lot of things coming this year. Channels, a move. I hope you'll hang in there with me. I think some of you are going to really like some of the things that are coming. I finally have my cookbook coming out in the next few months. You got to hang in there with me because we do have a lot of different things going on. I can't tell you an exact date because I like to keep things a little flexy around here, not too rigid. Get myself all nutso inside, but it's soon. And I really hope that that's going to be a beautiful part of the rhythm of your kitchen. Deep breath. Crazy times. Oh, that's how she's been escaping. I just caught her. Did you hear the fluttering? I have this one stinker chicken that gets out no matter what we do. Like she's plotting all the time, trying to figure it out. Now, and she always finds a new spot. We have hawks here and everything, and I keep telling her. The thing is, like, I'm talking to you guys this morning, and I didn't put snacks in there fast enough. That's what this is. She will come to the front door, and I will hear a noise, and I'll open the door, and she's staring at me. There's always one. I do hope that you enjoyed this little kitchen video today. I always appreciate you guys leaving your thoughts, comments, ideas down below. For liking the video. If you're new here and you enjoyed today's video, I would love to have you subscribe so that we can visit again. I truly appreciate all of you. Yes, I hear you, Posey. You're doing stuff you're not supposed to be doing. Caught on camera. Want me to get you a chair? I got your egg ready. Okay. Oh, friends. I love my little crew here. Keeps me on my toes. Friends, I appreciate you. I just appreciate you taking a piece of your precious day to spend it here with me and Posey and Zion and our humble little abode. Love you so much. And Lord willing, I will see each and every one of you, beautiful and precious souls, right here on the next one. Bye, friends. The sky's actually blue this morning. How long do you think they'll allow that? Touch. He's good. You're gonna have to watch her because I'm not dealing with it today.